Everyone I know. Welcome to Everyone I Know, the podcast where we argue about the mundane. Here we are again in Troy, New York, rocking on the river.
Yes, my favorite.
Yeah, I've been listening to some old episodes, been on that Kanye shit, listening to my own shit. And yeah, rocking on the river is probably my favorite tagline. I'm here today with my lovely producer and my equally lovely brother.
Oh, nice. Give me compliments on
Yeah,
that.
going a different way.
Today, as always, we're joined with a guest, a good friend of ours and a former coworker of mine, Dave.
Hey.
Dave, tell us about yourself.
I'm Dave. I worked with Chris at a company that goes unnamed.
Pornhub.
Yeah, it's part of the evil empire. And same with Brandon here. But yeah, we did that. What else do you want me to say about myself? Other than
Anything else?
I'm an individual.
Your shirt
I have
matches the
needs.
headphones right now.
It does, actually. Look at that.
I match right now. You
Looking
can't see this listening
fresh as
audience. But yeah, that's it. I'm here to discuss things and argue my points about a variety of topics. Or maybe just be in constant agreement all the time. We'll see what happens. Agreement, excuse me. Yeah, that's it. That's my story.
Cool.
And I'm sticking to it.
So before we get started, you can find us at eikpodcast.com. You can send us an email at theeikfellows@eikpodcast.com with 2 E's. Andy, social media, where can they find us
We're
there?
on all social media platforms besides Snapchat, because if Snapchat wants a piece of this cake, they better make with the cheddar.
You said
Anyway.
the exact same thing on the episode
Fuck
released
yeah.
today.
Practicing. So that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at EIKFellows, at EIKFELLAS. Fellas, figure it out, fuckers.
Real quick, if you're listening to us on iTunes, please rate and subscribe and leave us a review. That helps us out with stuff. Before we start, we every episode we say, like, hey, reach out to us, guys. You know, let us know who you are. Let us know your thoughts, your deepest desires.
Guess what?
We got our first email from a coworker of mine that works 2 cubes down from me.
Hell yeah.
So,
Hell yeah.
This is our first email from J Ed, and J Ed's a coworker of ours, and he's also a father. So I'm gonna try to read this right now. We'll see what happens. Okay, so the subject line is "da bomb."
Hell yeah. Bring it back to the 90s.
J Ed's dad, first time emailer, long time listener. As a huge fan of dad rock, dad jokes, and all things dad going on. Wait. Dad related. I think you guys are definitely have something special going on here. As a fellow employee at the hub that is porn, I know how real the struggle is, but you guys make the day a little better each time a new cast hits my iPhone. Keep up the great work. Sent from my iPhone.
Plug for Apple right there. Jesus Christ.
And again, if you're listening to us, rate,
Review, subscribe on
yeah.
iTunes.
Smash that like button.
So I would say, Chris, your reading comprehension level is about 8th grade there.
So if anybody listens to Bill Burr, he also has a problem reading out loud.
Don't deflect this on the Bill Burr, man.
I want to.
Own up to your inability to read out loud.
I can't do it.
I can't do it either. We had I read a eulogy, and I had to keep fucking just going off the top of the dome because I could not read
That's
off
better
a
that
fucking
way,
card.
man.
Like if you remember
comes from here.
If you remember our first episode we did, we sounded like we were like 5-year-olds because we were trying to read like something we had pre-written before it, and just came out like garbage.
Well, even what was it, last week or the week before? I did the Colgate ad, and
dude.
like I had to very much like not look at the page and just try to remember what I wrote. Yeah, fuck reading out loud. Next topic.
All right, want to kick it off?
Topic number 1.
All right, I'm first topic today, and I've got a lot of fucking notes, just like Andy always does.
Hell yeah.
So my topic is a genre of music. It's a genre of music that we're going to take a look at, and we're going to see what our favorite part of this genre is, and we're going to debate the definition of it.
Can I guess what this is?
Go for it.
New metal.
Fuck yeah. We're talking about new metal. So
I know y'all be loving this shit right here.
L.I.M.P. Biscuit is right here. All right, so yeah, new metal, that is NU metal. It's defined as a form. So I'm gonna try to read right now. A form of alt metal that incorporates aspects of funk, rock, hip hop, and others. Yeah. All right, cool.
What funk is in new metal?
311 is considered new metal.
No, it's fucking not.
It's considered space metal. Actually, you need to get that off Wiki.
Yeah, I got it off of Wikipedia. Maybe I'll have to send a correction to them.
Their list of associated acts is usually a little off. Yeah.
But yeah, so real quick, and we'll start talking about it. But some funny like names that I found for new metal was mallcore, which
Mallcore.
I know.
There's mallcore, crabcore. Did you see crabcore?
Crabcore did not.
We'll get the crabcore.
Okay.
It's a spin-off from all this.
What's crabcore?
Well, crabcore was basically the name taken from the physical stance taken by a member of the band, usually the guitarist, who would get down low.
Oh, hell yeah!
He's got the hip flexor ability, flexibility going on, and he would just kind of like crab himself back and forth while he was playing some sweet breakdown, which is what everything deteriorates to in this type of music now. Anyway,
Oh God, it's wonderful.
I don't know why, but I just have like an image of Sebastian from The Little Mermaid just doing like a new metal version of Under the Sea.
and there's your next Photoshop.
Fuck yeah.
There's your next Photoshop.
It's not Photoshop, it's PowerPoint.
Another one was a winecore, which I like. That's more of the stained,
Winecore.
the disturbed.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So are we gonna break this down into the waves? Like,
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, just for the listening audience at home, Dave's a fucking aficionado. He sells records too, so he's a real cool guy, and he's probably gonna smoke us on music topics.
In full disclosure, when I was an angry youth, I found comfort in new metal, but I drew lines. There was lots of lines drawn.
Okay. So all right, we'll break down the waves real quick, but before we do that, let's just off the dome favorite new metal band. We'll start. I'm gonna end with you, Dave. Okay. So
I don't know.
Andy.
I mean, I guess I don't know. For some reason Linkin Park is at the top of my head just because the guy killed himself. Poor dude.
rest in peace. So Linkin Park.
I guess so. Yeah. In the end,
Didn't take long. Didn't take long.
For me, it's System of a Down.
Oh fuck! I didn't know that was on the table.
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay. See, the reason why Andy just said I didn't know they were on the table is because I believe that they kind of separated themselves early as being far more intelligent.
Oh yeah.
Than new metal, but they were subscribed that label just the way that like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains was subscribed grunge, which made no sense at all. So for me, without getting into the semantics, for me it was it would have to be for one that still holds up all these years down the road. It'd probably have to be between Slipknot and Korn, and Korn doesn't hold up anymore. I mean, after like the third album, things get really stupid. Which I mean, honestly, that's
an overarching theme for much of this.
Really,
much
is
of
that
this
really
genre.
a surprise that it all fell apart? But Slipknot was actually able to like retain some sort of musicality to their whole thing and actually keep themselves interesting as well as their music to some aspects. Objectively, of course, folks. Of course. Objectively, like I would never sit here and argue to the grave that you should listen to that band.
Yeah, I definitely like I listened to Slipknot a little bit at some point, and I remember the biggest thing that I didn't like, what kept me away from Slipknot at first, was that the scary faces and the shirts that people wore. My cousin Joe wore a lot of Dave had the Slipknot shirts.
Well, they both did.
Yeah, they're both into the knot.
Yeah,
They were not heads.
well, there was a shirt that said I remember seeing it, and it's on the back. It said, "Slit your throat and keep walking." And I was like, "That sounds cool." And I said to my friend, "That's cool, right?" And that's pretty badass. And he goes, "What the hell does that even mean?" And in a single moment, I felt embarrassed that I even liked the band, let alone said anything to anybody else about that shirt. Yeah.
Okay, so here's another thing, a little factoid about Korn. They have a mic stand designed by H.R. Giger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's H.R. Giger?
He's the
Come on, man. No. Let him remind himself who H.R. Giger is.
Is it the alien guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
There you go.
Everything's
Cool.
a vagina.
All right. You gotta work. You lead someone to the learning.
If you don't
rather
let him
than
remember they get senile by the age of 30. How old are you now?
29.
Oh,
Just in time. Just in
Yeah,
time.
right there, dude. So I want to share one thought on new metal I found on Wikipedia. Gregory Heaney or some shit like that. I don't know, from All Music. So everybody knows.
Oh boy,
he's,
yeah.
His quote is new metal is one of metal's more unfortunate pushes into the mainstream.
Okay, so I mean, I guess you got to think about where it all came from. So we have to start with Korn, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Korn, they started in California, as all terrible things do. Okay, sorry, very broad and bold
We have
statement.
we have one listener in California. I think it'd be
Okay, but that's a very okay. I take that back because there's plenty of things I love about California, including the music. But anyway, there's just some bands you can tell that are from like L.A.
Very LA vibe to them.
Yeah, like that band Butcher Babies. I didn't even need to know where they were from. I just saw that they were some gimmicky thing, and I said, "That's L.A." And it was.
Yeah.
And anyway, so Korn started that whole vibe where Ross Robinson said, "Hey guys, I like what you're doing here. I can see this turning into something." And by that he meant money in my pocket, and he did, and he picked it up. But before that, they were just a mess. So they started this whole thing, which involved, as you guys know, like 7-string guitars coming to the forefront of using that. Unfortunately, they didn't use them, wisely. They just used them to just keep everything dropped below a certain tuning, so they didn't have to actually go through the effort of tuning their 6-string guitars down. It's not a laziness more than anything.
So you just have that one last string that's through drop D.
Yeah, you have the B, or you can go to the 8-string, and then you have the A, B, and then it goes from there. So, but Korn, the reason why Korn was so interesting and why they became the forefront is because they established that whole torrid feeling of it came out of the grunge thing because people were still looking for that whole depressing nature of music that was really speaking to younger kids. Mm-hmm. Well, what people don't know about Korn, not only did they kind of spearhead that whole thing, but Jonathan Davis actually had a pretty fucked up childhood. And at the time they recorded this, the first album is he was a total speed freak. Mm-hmm. He was actually having like paranoid delusions. He was having like borderline schizophrenic delusions. That song "Daddy" that you hear in the album is not about his father molesting him, but about an aunt that actually molested him in real life.
Oh God,
Jesus. Yeah. Let's see. There's a lot of like other stories that go on with him, but essentially, he was a wreck early on in his life, and then this band kind of became this outlet. Timing is everything, I believe, in music, and Korn found that timing. Ross Robinson found that band in the right time, and then from there, it just kind of vomited it itself. And by the way, Korn does apologize for Limp Bizkit. They openly apologize.
I was just going to say,
so
like,
funny.
Brian Head Welch apologized for it.
We really, so you're saying that Korn is pretty much the first instance
The
of
granddaddy of it.
Yeah. But really, when people think of new metal, at least anybody that is familiar with the genre, who are you thinking about?
Usually thinking about Slipknot. Usually thinking about Limp Bizkit. Usually thinking about Deftones was coupled along with that as well.
Yes, that was conversation me and Brendan had.
To not bring up Deftones for this long.
But the reason why I don't bring them up, except for when you're talking about the Family Values era, Family Values tour era, is because they were, again, they just, you could hear from everything they were already doing from the first album, Adrenaline, that they were just different. And then the fact that they evolved the way they did.
Be new metal, they're good.
Right, exactly.
Well, that is kind of an argument.
Exactly.
Like,
and the way they evolved was, and then in fact, they actually, not only did they separate themselves musically, but in terms of like sociably as well. When members, I think it was Chino said about John Davis, "All right, yeah, you're rich now. Stop whining like a crybaby about your bad childhood." And that started a whole thing.
So I think we kind of touched on what Brendan said. Like, you guys can't be new metal because you're good.
Right.
I think that's after it became a gimmick and just kind of a joke on itself. But then it kind of spawned almost what I consider a completely different genre, which is butt rock.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the worst shit out there.
Now, butt rock, are you?
It's like Shinedown.
Okay, yeah. So Oleander,
Nickelback, man.
Nickelback.
Yeah,
Nickelback.
Biggest band in the world, baby.
That was like that late '90s that rolled into the early 2000s, which is where you had so there's some bands that were around that time that were really excellent. I went back to recently. One of those bands being the Toadies. The Toadies were around the mid 90s, 94 to 96. That were just right before the Oleanders and the Shine Downs and
Well, the Toadies are like, you know,
Godsmack.
Jesus Christ.
the biggest butts. Of
I was gonna say, let's just fucking steal Nine Inch Nails riffs.
And then fucking put it into the Scorpion King soundtrack.
If you listen to Godsmack, fuck you, turn off my podcast.
Godsmack.
Hey, man.
Think about how far we've come. Godsmack was considered seriously edgy. As in Walmart would not carry their album.
Yeah.
Well, just because it said Godsmack, that was the only reason why.
And it's taken from an Alice in Chains song, by the way.
Really?
That's an Alice in
Godsmack?
Chains song. It's Godsmack.
Well,
Godsmacked, yeah.
I mean, you got to understand, they were very scary. There was a scorpion in that music video.
true.
It went into that guy's tattoo.
My God, I remember one time going over.
Is that voodoo?
Yeah, it is.
Voodoo. I remember going over to Schwen's house when we were in junior high school, I think. And he's like, "Yo, Powers, check this out." He pulls up his arm, his sleeve on his shirt, and he's got a Godsmack kind of tattoo.
Nice.
I am never gonna forget that.
Hell yeah.
I saw a dude at a show that had not one, but he had not one son, you know, it's Godsmack's son,
Yeah.
but two, one on each calf.
Well, that makes
It helps him run faster.
I mean,
no
it's,
sense whatsoever.
I give him credit for being, you know, consistent.
Symmetry, very good.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
right.
What do you think the dates of those two tattoos were? Did you think on both at the same
Oh,
time?
good question. So I was looking at them
Or-
because they were slightly different. He did not get them at the same
Yeah,
time.
so maybe he got one thinking, all right, well, this is
First album,
yeah,
second
this
album.
is first album, and like they're gonna change their tone and they're gonna become different. I'm gonna get on the other
Yeah,
calf.
as soon as I get my next check, fast forward like 3 years later, his truck broke down several times. He spent all his money on a stripper. That didn't work out for him, and he finally gets the tattoo. And then they're like, "Oh, dude, we're not going to that show." He's like, "What? I just got this."
I got a tattoo, man.
Yeah, yeah.
We listen to Puddle of Mud now, man.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then all of a sudden everybody became a parent whose kid was taken away from them. You know what I mean? That's what that song "Can You Take It All Away" is about. It's about his son.
Can you take it
It's about a broken relationship.
Is it
His son, he's him losing custody of his son.
Really?
I didn't know
I
that.
did not know
Yeah.
that.
I rarely look for meaning in
Yeah.
in butt rock.
Yeah.
I to this day, I think only like a month ago.
Usually, you're just going to stare into a big ass when you do.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Only a month ago, I realized that it's not BUTT rock. It's BUT rock. Like it's
Yeah,
a bunch
it's rock,
of stuff.
but
Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff, but it's rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's we touched on it a little bit before. You're saying like the different waves of new
Yeah,
metal.
yeah.
So do you mean like different bands in different ways, or like the different like types of new metal? So like
Yeah.
like kind of like the hardcore, the kind of glammy,
No,
the rap rock.
you had it right. So as Brandon jumped in and discussed, Family Values Tour, first wave. Okay.
Yep.
In fact, funny thing. Side note. The first time I ever heard Limp Bizkit was in my cousin's car in the summer that $3 Bill y'all came out, and the kid said to me, "This is how
What a summer.
This is how he prefaced their sound. It's a hardcore band from the West Coast." And me being, I think I was 11 at the time, had no idea what hardcore was because it was brought up again later, and I thought Megadeth was hardcore. Turns out that was wrong too, and I was embarrassed. I had a 17-year-old kid swearing at me and calling me an idiot. But anyway, so that's the first wave. Second wave would be your Godsmacks and all the other crazy horse shit. Stained was definitely one.
Stained. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. And by the way,
I-
if you remember, Stained, they had a song called Mud Shovel that was out. That was their first single off that album. And that album, like Disturbed's debut full length, was out for a good year and a half.
Before
and
it
then they
caught.
hit the right single.
Yep.
And they caught, and the radio play blew up. Next thing you know, why they're still around, and you're just confused about life in general.
Dude, Disturbed. The last thing I've heard by Disturbed was their cover of The Sounds of Silence.
Oh no.
And we used to go to a bar, and there was one particular bartender that would play it fucking constantly.
To goat you or to
No, 'cause she just really liked it, and it was a beautiful song.
What's funny because the day it was like soon after it came out, you were like, "Oh my god, dude, you have to listen to this fucking."
He sounds
Disturbed."
like a cow.
Yeah, and then the next day, me and Olivia were in New Hartford, and one of our parents' friends goes, "Oh man, my son went to a Disturbed concert last night. Did you hear that Sound of Silence cover they do?" And I was like, It's awesome,
shit.
dude. Just like Simon and Garfunkel.
While we're on this topic, though, of people really giving too much credit to modern day covers by bands, and this is, I'm sorry to lump in the same conversation within the same context, but the fact that people still mistaken Johnny Cash's cover of "Hurt" by Nine Inch Nails as a Johnny Cash song,
Right.
And it drives me fucking apeshit.
Same
to
thing
hear
with
that.
Rusty Cage.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also not his song.
Yeah.
Now as Soundgarden, and people they go, and I had someone try to argue that it was on Facebook too, so I didn't go near it because we all know how that goes. You walk away.
Oh, it's
scratching your
constructive.
head.
Everybody, comes to a
Yeah.
logical agreement.
and
It's great.
He tried arguing that, he goes, yeah, but the Cash version is better. I'm like, well, actually, technically, you can't say that because, for one, that was written by Trent Reznor in a time and place that he was going through a lot of shit in his, personally and in his life and internally. And like, I remember watching him on Kurt Loder when Kurt Loder was doing these very dramatic interviews with people where they were sitting in a dark room with, like, the bead entrance ways,
Yeah.
the bead entrance ways, and he's sitting in like this red velvet chair. And I remember this quote, Trent Reznor saying, well, Downward Spiral was just peeling off layers of madness. And I was like, Jesus Christ, 13-year-old me was just
Eating it up.
struck by the mystery man that was Trent Reznor. But anyway, shifting gears back, my apologies.
Oh no problem.
Back to shitty music.
Yeah, back to the shit.
Back to the shit. I remember one time having an argument with one of our friends, Joe, who actually listens to the podcast, and he was one of our high school, not even high school, like elementary school friends. And I was big into Nine Inch Nails, and he wanted to prove me wrong about something. He's like, "No, Hurt is by Johnny Cash," and I said, "No, it's not. It is by."
No,
Nine Inch
he's
Nails."
older. He wrote the song.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I just, and I remember when we finally came to an agreement because we did have the internet. I showed it to him. The feeling of vindication for being, that's not good. That's an alarm.
Yo,
Hold
that's
on.
fucked up, man.
Wow, so professional.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post.
No, we
I'll
won't.
fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post.
This is live.
Yeah,
This is
live to tape, baby.
But yeah, the feeling of just being right about that was something I still carry with me.
It's
a conversation.
It's good that the internet existed because otherwise you have to wait till the
Oh, yeah.
Encyclopedia Britannica comes out that year.
By then, you've already discounted that person as a friend because of that argument.
Exactly.
And it's like, I wish I could call that fucker right now and tell him he was wrong. But so good, thank God for the internet.
Yeah,
Thank Al Gore, excuse me, for the internet.
Yeah.
bringing people together. Yeah, I think.
Shall we?
I think that's good for new metal.
Moving on now to topic number 2.
Oh. That was a good one. I like that one.
You like that?
Yeah.
Extra points on the end.
Yeah. So.
Mine is my topic is the life script, and let me detail that for you. Life script being, so we're all particular age right now, and we're all experiencing different things in our lives that may. Well, it's just the cat.
There's a spider in the room, I believe.
Oh, good Lord.
Bug. And it keeps flying at me.
There's a bug cat.
There is a harmless, non-biting bug.
There's a cat that turned into a bug. You may have seen this movie. It's called The Fly, starring Jeff Goldblum, written by Vincent Price.
That was written by Vincent Price?
No,
No
none of it.
fucking way.
No.
Vincent Price didn't
Those are
write
two.
shit.
Those are two different time periods that I decided to combine as one. They're like mashup shirts of stupid shit that's sold at Target or anywhere.
Fury.
Yeah, T Fury.
Okay, so the bug has been removed. The crisis has been averted. Thank you for sticking around there, listener. Everybody's okay.
Maybe that timer was for the bug. That was
Set
the
off the
time.
bug.
That was the time that he
Cue
was
the
supposed
bug.
to start coming down.
Cue the bug.
So yeah, the life script being that I guess that unwritten path you're supposed to be taking in your life. So. It's kind of like how people say that the 30s are your new 20s now, etc. It's
Bullshit.
I know, Chris. Hold on. Just so we understand what the life script means is basically, out of high school, I needed to, by all intents and purposes, you'd go to college. By all intents and purposes, of that you get a career, you find a wife, you have a kid, you settle down, you spend life meandering, and then you get old. You might have your kid to take care of you. You die. maybe. So life script in the sense that
That was the least maybe part of that whole story.
sorry, I mean
You die.
we don't know where things are going to be. Oh, sorry, we're not going to know where things are at that point, Brandon. I mean, they could have very well perfected transferring your memories into the great Matrix.
Exactly.
The only two constants in life are what is it? Death and taxes. That's Mark Twain, right?
Nope. No, it's Ben Franklin.
No, I think it's Mark Twain.
I believe it was every human being that ever paid taxes said that. So that's what I say in order to not, to get something wrong in the history books.
Okay, so basically we're saying, fuck the system, fuck the life script, something along those lines.
Yeah, we're saying that like, okay, so what you're probably seeing in abundance now at your age is either you're attending a lot of weddings.
Yep.
Yes.
You're trying to plan your own.
Nope.
Well, some of us had to because of family peer pressure or family pressure. Period. They're not my peers. They're just family. Doesn't matter.
Start over.
But yeah, just like various things like that, or as soon as you get married, being asked, when's the kid, etc.
Oh yeah.
And how I guess like more and more I see and I don't, and millennials are too busy on their phones to understand this. But I think a lot. But
Shots fired.
It's fine. I mean, there's
EIK Podcast, the only anti and pro millennial podcast on the web.
I am torn between worlds like that as well, though. But I think I'll get into that as it is another topic. But the existential crises that individuals are constantly going through, and they're not finding that being content is having a kid or getting married.
Yeah.
And instead they take vacations from that idea in their own ways, whether it's I'm going to prolong this, I'm going to break up with somebody because of that, or I'm just never going to have a kid in general. But fine. Now you think now that what I just said, that statement that millennials or even people that are a little bit older than them, say myself in early to mid 30s, it doesn't like there is collectively we're not there yet. I believe that is a form of progression in itself. That not following the life script alone is a form of progression as a human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that like it's one of those things where people are like, millennials are killing the French fries industry, and like millennials aren't getting married; they're killing all our priests or something like that. Like, and it's just like you gotta have money and like a secure job to do any of that shit, and that one does not beget the other. So
Yeah.
So like an example for like experience I had very similar to the kind of like getting out of the life script as it is was it came up that me and my girlfriend Julie are getting a place together.
Okay.
Next year.
are you gonna marry this house? When are you gonna marry?
Congratulations
the house?
on your future moving.
Yeah, exactly. So like
Congratulations on your U-Haul.
Yeah. So but like to
That
us,
day's gonna suck for you.
To us though, that's the reaction. Like, oh, cool, man. Like, all right, good luck. But when I mentioned it to a supervisor or a manager, the reaction was, when are you gonna put a ring on that? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Let's live together first, because it's not the 1920s where you have to be married to live with somebody.
I remember when you used to see in movies and TV shows where it was 6 months in, or you used to hear about people 6 months in, a year in, getting married.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and then people are going, the divorce rate is up to like 40%. Well, no shit, it is.
What do you expect?
Have you
I mean-
figured out yourself?
Exactly. I mean, it's how long can you wait to bang? I mean, right? kids
You
these-
still follow that, yeah.
Kids these
They say
days-
we're impatient, but
Exactly. Millennials, they're not getting married. They're never having sex ever.
keep myself pure. Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, like one of the other things that you had mentioned is, you get out of school, you go to college.
Yeah.
Maybe if I had a chance to go back, I don't think I would change much, but I would have definitely thought about not going to college, learning a trade, because there's
fuck
fucking
yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fucking electricians make so much goddamn money.
Some kid told me the other day at my gym, he goes, I'm going to school. I'm going to school for learn a trade and like being an electrician. I was like, good for you. Yeah. Fucking A.
But like,
Fucking A, dude.
like 10
He's
years,
gonna have
10 years
some
ago,
time to do shit that he wants to do.
Yeah, exactly. And not have a bunch of debt. Well, he probably will still have some.
It's Hudson Valley. You won't have any fucking that. Unless he spends it all on drugs.
Shouts to drugs in Hudson Valley.
Yeah,
So there'll be some drugs.
It's 5 minutes away.
that's true.
But like I had this experience when before I worked at my current job. I've mentioned it a couple times before. I was a cook. I was pretty fucking good at it, and I had to battle with that like at any family gathering. Or so you're still cooking, Chris? Like, yeah, I am actually. Like, this is probably what I'm gonna do for a while. But then eventually it got to me and I quit. But that's beside the point.
I mean, I remember I went for an internship at a Masonic research lab in Utica. Shouts to them, I guess.
Sponsored.
I didn't have a great time. There was a lot of elitism there. Reverse shout out. Fuck you guys. Come at me, bro. Anyway, and like I was talking to somebody. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll fucking sweep the floor if I got nothing to do. And they're like, oh no, we have people do that. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. Like, it's just so weird how people like tell you where to be and how to be it and how that determines your fucking values. Like, dude, I can mop real fucking good. Like, watch me go. It's all from being on the wrestling team.
I like that segue there. I wish wrestling was the next topic. Yeah. Like, and that reminds me. It becomes, but to your when you went home and people were like, you're still doing this. Bill Burr actually had a bit on that where he goes, I didn't go home this year and I felt great not doing it because when I go home they go, oh, you're still doing that comedy thing? And look how
Bill Burr.
And look, to Bill Burr. But that just shows you like the ignorance of people, and that if you do something that steps outside of that script, people are concerned about you. They're genuinely concerned about you. I had a cousin, as soon as I walked out from my wedding ceremony, just got done saying I do. Walked around the door to the cocktail table. My cousin's standing there and he goes, so when are you having kids? And I said to him, he has 5 children. Okay. And he had those 5 kids over the course of 8 years, 9 years. And I said, I can't. You had them all.
Fucking in your face, Jim.
And his wife had this look on her face like, well, fuck this guy. But my cousin laughed because every time they're over, little bits of resentment slip out about children and having so many of them. Yeah. Now, you want to have a kid, all the power to you. It's your life. You decide what you want to do as you want to do it. However, when you make those choices, you inherit all that responsibility and you inherit all the possible resentment that can come from it. And if you think you were pissed about having 1 kid, go ahead and have 5. Let me know how it works out for you.
Fuck that. I can't remember 5 names on my own.
Right.
Greg Fitzsimmons has a bit where from back in the day where he's like, it's pretty much this whole idea where it's like, oh, you guys are together when you're getting married. Oh, you're married. When are you gonna have a kid? And it's like, I want to turn around and talk to those people. Like, oh, you're married and you have kids. Okay, when are you gonna die?
Yeah.
That's the next step.
Yeah. Also, he's a comedian, so I understand. Oh, he always has the best bits too.
I love Greg Fitzsimmons.
Yeah, he's funny.
When he really brings it down and gets serious. You almost feel like he's delivering home like a very solemn point, or even making like a very genuine emotion on stage, and it'll say like, and then my wife farted on me.
And then I felt the hot breath.
I didn't hear it. I just felt the hot breath on my leg, and then I went and slept on the couch.
I didn't listen to him in a long. Is he still doing
Absolutely.
stuff?
Yeah. I think he has a podcast too.
Does he really? I can check that out.
Yes, he does have a podcast.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. It's called like Fitzdog.
Fitzdog Radio.
Fitzdog Radio. Yep.
He's kind of like a more sane Bill Burr.
Yeah, actually, he always he always says that he's part of that whole dry delivery with him and Todd Barry had that same approach.
I love Todd Barry.
Yeah, just drop it right there and let it fester.
It's a thinky man fucking comedy style.
Absolutely is. But yeah, so that is basically, I find myself constant being pushed and pulled, and people constantly looking at you different ways, or you can't have certain conversations with people because you're removed from what they've accomplished in terms of what they were supposed to do, or you have somebody who has a kid, or I remember a lady who had dogs, but everybody else around her had kids, so they're all talking about their kids or their grandkids, and this lady is talking about her dog like it's a child because she just wants to fit in.
Fuck yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, you gotta chill out. And I'm sitting there going, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna separate myself completely from this and dive into something else because I have nothing in common with you people, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's cool to hear shit about experiences that you haven't had. I think that's one of it's almost like a psychological bias where you assume that everybody thinks the same way that you do. And so therefore you assume that everyone enjoys shit the same way that you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Fucking fuck the man. Let's burn this shit down. Fucking let's start right here. We'll burn this house down and then we'll move on. What do you think?
I mean,
Brandon?
he's got neighbors. I don't know how they would feel.
I mean, I have insurance.
Brandon,
I was
Yeah.
gonna say it's insurance company.
Okay, well, delete this part out. We'll get the insurance money. Then we'll go fucking clubbing or something. I
send
don't
out
know.
a
We'll have
quick
good time.
email that you're burning the complex now.
How long does it take to get the insurance payout though?
A while.
Yeah.
You can stay with me while we.
Especially after they hear this podcast.
Under
That's like this was.
investigation.
Yeah, this was predetermined.
Exhibit A, 30 minutes long. Please sit back.
But hopefully somebody on the jury really likes corn.
It's like, oh, this guy's like corn, so fuck it.
Oh, honestly, I mean, if this is a jury that's listening right now, write, review, subscribe on
Yeah,
iTunes.
seriously.
EIKpodcast.com.
Tell your friends. Let everybody follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook.
We got to start a Kickstarter to get
Yeah.
Brendan a new home.
This will weed out a jury real fast. Well, I actually listen to their podcast, and it's great. All right, well, you can go home now. Perfect. That's how you get out of jury duty for those 6 years, my friends. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much we have left for this particular topic, but I will say one final note on it. Don't be intimidated by folks who have filed a life script. Feel free to tell them how much you enjoy not having a kid, or you're still saving for a house, or maybe you're just going to rent a home for the rest of your life and let someone else mow your damn lawn.
Hell yeah.
Don't be afraid to do that. And, just remember that eventually all these old traditions are going to just waste away. And what's going to be left is people. They're going to be the weird ones later on, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You'll be like, fuck you, guy. You're a strange person.
Fucking
I did everything right in my life.
normie. Get back to the fuck pile like
Yeah.
everybody else. Well, I mean, obviously, it's like
Wait, it's gonna devolve into a fuck pile. one of
right.
these
It's
days,
it's
yeah.
like that slippery slope like Fox News shit where it's
Yeah.
like
They got it on one thing. And it's
like, dude, if you fucking put your watch on your right wrist rather than your left wrist, it's
That means
total
that you're
fucking,
left-handed. That's
dude,
all it
no,
fucking
left-handed
does.
anarchy. Because being left-handed used to be a fucking
Yeah,
sin.
yeah,
Honestly.
yeah,
they used to make
you were considered actually like a freak of nature, left-handed people.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
All right. You want to do that thing?
Do that funky thing. Topic number 3. Really inspired this week. With
Yeah,
that.
no, this is a.
Okay, draw my paper.
Oh,
okay,
Jesus.
okay, Waka Flocka, everybody.
Okay.
So my topic this week is when you're talking to somebody, and especially today having Dave on the podcast, it's gonna be good because fucking sometimes I feel like I don't know shit about music, and I listen to a lot of music, but if somebody asks me what my favorite album is by somebody, I will never say their most popular album, and that's the topic. Are you allowed to like the most classic album from somebody, even if it's good?
Yes.
Yes,
I think so.
because sometimes it's the best thing they ever fucking did.
Hell
and,
yeah.
And after that, it was all shit. Or before that, they just didn't reach that. They didn't reach that potential.
Okay. We haven't talked about Queens of Stone Age yet today.
Oh yeah, God, what are we doing?
So now we have to.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to.
So it's the podcast.
What's Dave's a big fan of Queens of Stone Age, like myself.
Ooh.
What's your favorite Queens album?
It's gonna. I mean, it's really for me. It's between. It's between the latest one that just came out
It's so good.
and Songs for Deaf. And the reason why Songs for Deaf will always hold up as being one of their best, if not the best, is because there was this aggression to it
Yeah.
that at the end of the day,
As a quick side note, if you don't listen to Queens of Stone Age, Songs of Death is their most popular album.
Yes.
Like hands down, bar none. Like
I really thought you were gonna say, "Oh, if you don't listen to Queens of Stone Age, fuck you."
Fuck you,
yeah,
turn
actually,
it off.
yeah, turn us off.
but
Unfollow,
But if I were to meet
unsubscribe.
a group of fans or be at their show and someone said, "What's your favorite album?" I'd lie and say Era Vulgaris just because it's
Just
the
wanna
most
be a
left
dick.
field
Yes,
thing he
it's
ever
the hippest
did.
one to do.
Yeah.
So okay, so that actually is the other half of this. So now this becomes a whole fucking head game minefield.
oh, it is 100%.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, if somebody asked me, okay, how about this? What's your favorite Pink Floyd album? Okay,
I really don't have.
you
I
don't
think I have one.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Animals.
Okay, that's
you
the
go.
thing. People will say Animals. People will say Wish You Were Here. People will say like all those other ones like Zydeco or all that shit. And like nobody's ever gonna say, yeah, I like Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall.
Wall, yeah.
Like
I was gonna say The Wall. I thought I was gonna be edgy.
see, that's the thing.
yeah, because I don't know much about. Pink
That's the
Floyd,
point.
Really.
Is that like you play? It's like it's a feint within a feint. You're
I
playing.
don't really listen to him. I'm sorry. Stop fucking looking at me like that.
You suck.
I'm cutting this mic.
Okay.
Sorry,
okay.
go ahead.
How about Lou Reed? What's your favorite Lou Reed album?
Ooh, see now the.
You're not gonna say Transformer. You're
not-
gonna say
yeah.
the Blue Mask.
I'm gonna say Blue.
or Blue. Whatever
Yeah.
the fuck it's called.
What's
Yeah.
that look for?
I don't like Lou Reed.
You don't like Lou Reed? That's
You,
okay.
you don't like Velvet Underground?
I'm with him.
Oh,
yes.
Wait, you guys don't like the Velvet Underground or Lou Reed?
Okay. So I listened to the Velvet Underground again recently.
Yeah.
And here's what it comes down to. This can bleed into like what we're talking about here, especially with the Beatles, the Stones, all that shit. And I do say shit in some sense, and I say shit just in terms of generalizations. Yeah, exactly. Because lack of a better word to say stuff. I believe a lot of it is time and place.
yes.
Yep.
I mean, when you listen to certain bands that are so foundational, it's tough because they sound. I was like, well, this sounds like everything else that's taken that and done a new spin on it or done based their thing off of it, and it's it sounds. It's like, oh, this is almost fucking corny, like what they're doing.
Yep.
Like you're gonna play guitar and drums and bass,
Yeah.
like fucking losers. Play your theremin, space triangles.
Space Triangle?
I couldn't think of another wacky instrument.
Theremin was it. That's like the wackiest it
There's
gets.
a
I think.
theremin on the new Queen's album.
Good. I
I'm
know,
pretty
yeah,
It's in doesn't matter.
I thought you were just imitating
That's
the theremin.
Yeah, that was
This is how it goes.
Yeah.
But okay. So what else? Do you have anybody else on the list of like?
Okay, how about Michael Jackson? What's the big Michael Jackson album?
I'm gonna go with. For me, it's bad because it has a really nice deep cut. You may have heard of it. It's called Dirty Diana.
Okay.
And Dirty Diana is hard fucking core. That song's heavy as shit if you listen to it. It's like the heaviest Michael Jackson tune out there.
Well, there are definitely some B-sides on certain albums that you just skip right over. Like I was gonna say, like the number one Michael Jackson album that people will say is Thriller, right?
Yeah.
He's laid out Sexy Dad for all the world to see. He's a beautiful Jerry curl.
It's like, isn't that like the best selling album of all time?
Yeah, it was for
Maybe
a while.
comparatively.
I believe if someone can, I'm sure it probably took over since his death, but if I'm not mistaken, that was, and then if I remember hearing this correctly, and Brandon, if you can research this, I believe Eagles' Greatest Hits actually outsold it
I think you're right.
at one point, but I don't know
Really?
if it still holds up as the most best selling album.
Well, now it's fucking One Direction's the number one selling band.
Fuck me.
Fucking-
What's your favorite One Direction album?
They have albums. They have iTunes singles.
Okay, well, this actually
seriously.
leads right into the next thing. The next thing is it okay to like a band that's mostly singles? So, like, I listen to a lot of electronic music, and there are certain people who are like, they'll put out a great album, and then they'll just be a single fucking, like, remix guy for the
Yeah.
rest of their life. And that, I'm trying to come to terms with that and not make that,
Well,
like,
that's what Reznor does.
yeah, but he's puts out albums still. Like,
It's almost like Aphex Twin too.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, Aphex Twin, like or like even Boards of Canada will do that too. Like they've released like 4 albums, but like every once in a while they'll just make a remix, and it's like it's cool. I'm happy to gobble that up, but like I love an album. I
Yeah.
love to listen to something all the way through. I'm the worst at making playlists because I can't just like differentiate what's good because this is like a microcosm of this topic. Do you pick when you're making a playlist? Do you pick the most popular song to put on the playlist? Do you put the single on the playlist, or you do all B
Oh
sides?
no, I dump all of their music normally onto a playlist, and then just hit,
let God sort it out.
yeah, and just hit. There's another bug, folks. There's another bug.
It's a Beatle.
It's a Beatle of
It's
some
Ringo.
sort.
It's George.
We
It's
need
John.
to get we need a gun. We need a gun.
Well, if it's a gun, then it's got to be John.
Oh, it's one of those tree buggies. I
Oh,
got a
hey.
bunch of them.
Got it? Yeah, he got shot.
He got shot
But
in the head.
I mean, if you're usually a big, I leave the whole. If you're making a playlist, you put the singles on there to people who DJ weddings.
Yeah.
Or are people who or that's all they listen to are the singles. They don't actually listen to albums.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's reason
Those people exist.
that's reason why pop music is pop. It gets the sales it does these days, especially since the whole industry model has changed. Is because that's what everything's based off of: YouTube plays and iTunes downloads.
Right.
If
Singles.
that bug comes anywhere near me, I'm gonna scream like a fucking girl.
Dude, they're harmless. I get them all the time
I
in my
don't
place.
fucking care.
What, bugs? Just in
I
general?
mean, yeah, just infestations.
So,
pardon me.
One artist I want to do your favorite album, whatever, for is Radiohead.
Oh, see, well, here's the thing. There are some artists that I don't think there is a most popular album. Radiohead is one of those that I feel that way about because, like, okay, well, is it Kid A? Is it In Rainbows?
Yeah, well,
is
so that's
it
the thing.
fucking? Is it A Moon-Shaped Pool? Like,
Basically,
Okay, computer, everybody shut the fuck up.
it's okay, computer.
okay. So what I was going to say from Brendan's point is this:
Leave
is
my
the
fucking house if you say anything besides open
It's
computers.
it's
So-
it's Hail to the Thief.
okay. Now, I actually Okay, so now we have to go to the subtopic of this. Now, what Brandon said, their best album probably is OK Computer by all intents and purposes. However, my favorite album is Hail to the Thief, and I like it more than I like OK Computer.
Yeah.
Now, with a band with such an excellent catalog as them, or say even like Thin Lizzy or some shit like that, whatever album you pick in that long line of albums, it's probably not gonna be a bad album anyway. So it's all good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. There are certain people who are prolific enough where it's like they make good shit, and you can always count on Radiohead or some band to make something good.
Except for King of Limbs.
I like King of Limbs. I'm an apologist for that album. I fucking like it.
You are, man.
Yo, listen to the remix album. It's great. It's got Nathan Fake on it.
It's one of those ones where I understand that it has its moments, but as a whole, I just can't get behind it.
Listen, if you can't get through Feral, you don't deserve Little by Little.
Okay.
No, but
told.
for real though, listeners out there, the remix album is really great. It's got some of my favorite artists on it. It's got Nathan Fake. It's got Caribou. It's got fucking get out of my face. Whatever.
Oh, the look of contempt on Chris's face
Caribou's
right now.
pretty sick, though.
Caribou
I
is
like
the
it.
shit.
I
He
like Caribou.
released a 30-second little clip today. Ooh,
It's exciting.
Ooh, and his DJ said Daphne, that persona, he put out. So Fabric Live is like this little like compilation thing through Fabric, the nightclub in London, and he instead of just it's supposed to be like a DJ set that you do like of other people's songs and a couple of your own. Instead of doing that, he just put 21 of brand new songs that haven't been released yet,
Okay.
and then like 3 other songs.
So, quick question for you, because
Back
we're
pocket stuff.
kind of not deviating, but we're moving away from like the actual issue here.
Yes.
What do you think about somebody who, if you ask them, "What's your favorite Everclear album?" and they say, "So Much for the Afterglow," what if they name the most popular album?
Okay, I don't talk to people who like Everclear.
Yeah, that's what kind
So
of example.
that's not existent in my world.
My daddy gave me your name.
Oh shit!
Then he walked away.
Chris went through a brief period where he
It wasn't a very brief period.
Chris
It was-
loved Everclear
for
so
a
good, and
long
then he did like a book report
Yeah,
on
I
him or
did. I
something
found
like
out that he was a heroin junkie, and I decided I didn't want to listen to him anymore.
I will abandon him in his time of need.
I was gonna say pretty fucking judgmental for like a 10-year-old.
yeah, you're like,
Well, okay, I'll be honest. This sounds cruel, but honestly, this comes. I never liked Sublime. Sublime is some of the worst fucking music ever created in
I can listen to
in my
Sublime.
in my
I can
opinion.
get down on some
Well,
Sublime.
it's 'cause you're a frat
no
bro.
shit. You just said you like Everclear.
I just decided I liked.
Sky's
I
the limit
liked.
for you. Sky's the limit for you. Okay, so for Sublime, when that guy died of a heroin OD, people were all broken up. Well, first of all, he died of a heroin overdose, and he had a 1-year-old. So go
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Your
Doing
kid
fucking
suffers the
heroin.
most out of this, not your fans.
Yeah,
So
right.
and if you ever seen a documentary on Sublime, don't watch it because it's a bunch of spendheads sitting around, pontificating about his.
Spenheads?
Well, that's what they used to call. Chris, let me take you back.
Okay.
Back in the 90s and even the 80s, they used to call people who did a lot of drugs and who were just spaced out time spendheads. Just so they call them burnouts.
Oh, okay.
I've heard like spun out.
Well, spun out is being the act of being high.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, or get lifted.
Get lifted. 420. Gotta get the young crowd. Keep it going. Keep it
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
Come on, more,
we're
more.
420 friendly.
420 friendly.
Hashtag 421.
gluten free.
Vaccine free.
We're drinking
Vaccine
organic
free.
beer right now.
Yeah. We're drinking organic beer. We're anti-vaxxers.
It's called Hams.
Yeah, hams. Oh, by the way, dear listener,
Brewed real ham.
this is the.
There's a new cheap beer on the scene.
So I picked up a 12-pack of this beer called Hams that was $7 and change, including deposit and tax, in Albany, which is very, very cheap. It is not very good.
I've had worse cheap beer, I'll tell you that though.
Yeah. This is pretty bad.
I
though.
want to make this a daily, but I wouldn't kick it out of bed.
Yeah, no, it's
Brewed with real ham.
It's got that hammy aftertaste to it. So what else you got there? You got notes. You're going through them.
Okay, so I got like Beach Boys, like Pet Sounds is the one
Okay.
that everyone points to, but
Okay.
Smile is clearly
Let's-
a superior album.
Yeah. Okay. There
I
we
feel
go.
like
We
a
don't-
twat because I don't know
we
like
already-
I don't know
we already
more than
agreed.
one album out of any of these. So
It's
far.
okay.
Okay. So Chris,
so
you should.
before Josh Homme was born,
There was music.
there were other bands.
So I went through their catalog starting, from the days when they were getting pushed around by their dad, basically, and where the label changed the name on them
Yeah.
because they're like, we don't like that. I forget what they were called before that. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
So they were called something else, but the label's like, that's stupid. Beach Boys. They're like, what? Like, yeah, we put out your album. It's called the Beach Boys.
Yeah, their original name was Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
But like their other stuff I've heard is very psychedelic.
Oh, yeah, like Smile.
Smile
Smile
gets-
is cuckoo crazy.
Basically, when you have somebody who had a nervous breakdown,
Brian Wilson.
yep, and he was also on acid a lot at some point in his life, anyway.
One of them was hanging out with Charlie Manson.
Oh, that was his brother.
his brother.
That was his brother,
Yep.
and his brother, and then Charlie Manson was like, I forget what happened with that whole thing. You can read it on Wikipedia, but basically, his brother got all paranoid that Manson was going to come after him.
Well, I think he stole one of Manson's songs.
Oh, yeah, yes,
I think
that's
"Cease to Exist,"
Yep.
or I don't know. Maybe that just was Manson's song. It's a good fucking song.
Definitely
honestly.
wasn't Garbage Man.
Yeah. Bada bing.
Yeah, but anyway,
Let's see what else I got on here.
got Beach
Best Nirvana album.
okay, let's do this. You guys go first.
I mean, I really like the Unplugged in New York one, but that's not really an album.
I mean, it's done differently though. It is
Yeah.
something that's out of
Yeah.
the electric realm for them.
Yeah. So should I say In Utero or should I say Bleach? Like,
Okay.
should I be
Whichever
a Jewish-
one's not, never mind.
Exactly.
Which one do you like more?
I like In Utero. Actually, I do like In Utero better than Nevermind.
I like how you say that.
So you would agree with a friend of mine that's his favorite band, and I said to him, I was like, and by the way, I love In Utero, and mostly because the song,
What was I saying? In Utero?
In utro, real fancy, like pinky up in the air style.
yeah, and that's fine because I think I've been pronouncing it wrong my entire life, nor do I care, but the song Tourette's really appealed to me when I was younger because I was always looking for something in a Nirvana album to really hold on to because I was into metal. And that song, I heard that song, I was like, yo, this song's fucking nuts.
Yeah, dude.
But I go with Bleach, and the reason why I go with Bleach, for me anyway, by the way, I understand that In Utero is probably the best thing they ever did.
Yeah.
I do understand that. But I go back to Bleach because it just had more riffs. That's it. It kind of had more riffs to me.
I am not familiar enough with Bleach. I was just saying to be a douchebag. Just be like,
you
oh,
should-
yeah, I know what Bleach
You
is.
should listen to Floyd the Barber and read those lyrics. It's,
Oh, no, I know Floyd the Barber.
Oh, yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah.
Some subject matter that you know well from being at the barber.
Yeah, I
By the way,
Making
one of
fun
the
of you being-
microphones that he used on In Utero for the vocals is currently up for auction, and it is $11,750.
We can get that for this.
Yeah.
Use it for the podcast.
Fuck yeah, yeah.
Go
Fuck yeah.
fund me.
Guys, rate, review, subscribe. We'll get that Audible sponsorship. We'll save up some money every like $14,000 downloads. We'll get like $10 or something like that.
Now-
yeah, and then we'll just
Here's the thing, though, with In Utero. Now, I'm sorry. Would you say your favorite album once again?
I don't
It was
know.
Unplugged. It was
Yeah, I
Unplugged.
like
Okay.
Unplugged, but I
Okay.
mean like,
That's a good fucking album.
it's a good-
Well, it's not
it's
like
a
an
good
album.
performance.
Don't look at me. I didn't give a shit about that. He was wearing a sweater and talking in hushed tones. I thought it was the most boring thing in the world.
Fair enough.
And plus, you guys ever hear about that? Where I think Dave Grohl spoke about it actually openly in interviews, where he was playing the drums as soft as he possibly could. It's Dave Grohl too, so you know it
Yeah.
took a lot of restraint. And Kurt Cobain at one point turns to me and goes, "You just lower it down a little bit." He's like, "All right, man." And then even then he goes, just a little bit more. And he goes, like, you just want me to fucking play? But if I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken on this, and you can all Wikipedia, people are listening to it, but if I'm not mistaken, Dave Grohl actually started having a bigger songwriting influence on In Utero.
okay.
Yeah, that's
And
what
that's
I've heard. And
Okay.
remember when You Know You're Right came out? They released that single post death, post mortem, and because they're trying to cash in on this collection. No, they weren't. Oh, you were shaking your head. I was like, oh, geez, what kind of
I think this episode
embarrassing
has the most
inaccuracy.
like outside,
Yeah.
like interaction of any.
It's just the most Nicole.
And
The fifth Beatle. That's Julie. Julie's the fifth Beatle.
Yeah.
and from what I understand is that Dave Grohl's influence in his songwriting started actually seeping through towards the end of the band's career. Now, I don't know if that's how much of that actually is relevant to the end of the band's career, but all I know is that the Foo Fighters suck. That's what I was getting at.
Oh, jeez. Shots fired.
First album's not bad.
What was
Yes.
That first album.
that? That first album has one good song on it, and you know what it is.
Okay, you're right.
And it's not the Mentos song.
I know. It's
That was on Color and Shape, or was that the first album?
the "You Don't Owe Me Anything" song.
Yes, you do. Yes, exactly. With the little thing in the air that's floating around, you're like, what the hell is that supposed to represent? And there's colors, and they're all wearing
Supposed
white.
to represent Kurt Cobain.
Right, and they're white jumpsuits.
Yeah.
Was Novoselic in the band at that time? No, he stopped. Right, he just took off.
Pat Smear was though.
Pat Smear.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Well,
like Pap Smear, but anyway.
and do you have any more? Because we got to kind of.
I think we actually got through all of them. I think we went through a whole page of my notes.
Holy shit, that happened
Rumors
first
by
time.
Fleetwood Mac. I don't know. I looked at Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow. Anyway, I went through there's some Rolling Stone list or some shit like that, 500 best albums.
Don't look at those. You'd
I know.
Be angry.
I was
so
just
angry.
it was ridiculous how far down certain albums were. Like you expect like I said, you expect classic albums to be on there.
What I
was
noticed.
Stained?
Stained was number 1. Okay. Limp Bizkit was number 2.
Been a while.
And number 3. They were number 3.
They
on
were
the
2
list,
and 3, the 2 albums, right? Yeah. And then like Puddle of Mud was like 4. I really thought they got
They were
robbed.
tied for 4th.
Yeah, I thought they got robbed though because it's like.
Tied for 4th was Seven Dust.
Well, no.
And then there was Robert Johnson.
Right after that was Alien Ant Farm. Actually,
just the cover of Smooth Criminal, though.
There is a greatest hits album.
there is
Yeah,
no funny story about that. That was going to be your Christmas gift last year, Andy.
Alien Ant Farm.
Best of Alien Ant Farm, but I couldn't find a copy. I couldn't
It's like a Criterion collection.
Yeah, like
And just like at the movies, Andy would be getting an Alien Art Farm anthology. Well, let's actually go into that real quick if we have time. Lists. Just in terms of based off what he just said about the
yeah,
Rolling
for
Stone
sure.
list. Okay, so I decided to do this thing because I went through this whole 90s thing where I got the 90s, man, music in the 90s. I really hated it, but I really liked it actually in retrospect. But actually, it just turns out I liked the wrong things and went back and started liking the right things.
Yeah, no, there's some good shit in the 90s.
Right. So I looked up all these lists. And this is and what it comes down to for a lot of these periodicals is what you just said with this whole topic was what album are you supposed to like?
Right.
Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
what that you're a real fan.
Yeah. And what album for you is the milestone.
Right.
For that band's catalog. And this also reflects on that when VH1 did the 100 greatest rock bands of all time, and then next thing you know, you realize what the top 5 are going to be because they're the top 5 most selling rock bands alive. Not actually in terms of integrity, substance.
Right.
Like Thin Lizzy was way too far up that list.
Thin Lizzy,
or down the list rather. Yeah, and which was bullshit. Bad Brains as well. Bad Brains being the very band who started hardcore, and which all other bands wanted to emanate.
Right.
Basically, Bad Brains created hardcore, and bands were trying to figure it out and couldn't. So everything else just didn't sound as good as Bad Brains. But in the sort of top 5, obviously became Led Zeppelin, AC/DC,
Right.
Metallica.
The most commercial friendly bands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The ones who sold the most. It wasn't come on. Metallica, after the first 4 albums, and it took me a long time to admit this myself for being such an avid fan for so long until they started suing the shit out of people, was the fact that they only had 4 good albums. And it really did.
My
just drop
lifestyle
off.
determines my death style.
Right. And that's what happens when you let other members of the band write lyrics for you. I mean, it's just one of those things. So it really was painful to watch that, and even when I was younger and very influenced by a lot of bands that were on that list, going, this is bullshit, and being saddened.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where you really can't put music into a numerical system.
No, never
it doesn't
works.
work that way.
Never works that way.
All right. Well, I think we solved it.
Yeah, I think we figured it out. Everything's gonna be fine now.
Oh, I missed one more. Frank Zappa apostrophes.
Everything is good by Frank
sensations.
Zappa.
He's a very talented.
Shake your booty.
Was a very talented person.
Yeah.
Very talented mustache on that man.
All right, so dear listener, if you're still with us, thanks for listening. We appreciate that. You can find us at eikpodcast.com. You can email us at theeikfellas@eikpodcast.com. Andy, social media.
Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at EIKFellas, EIKFL.
Dave, I know you have a couple of things you probably want to plug.
Oh, okay. You're allowing me to do
Oh,
this?
of course.
Absolutely.
All right,
Of course.
that's
We know that's the whole
we're
thing.
riding your coattails.
Yeah, you have fans.
Oh shit! That's
You
why
have
I'm here.
fans.
That's why I'm here. I have I sell records. If you like records, use the new stuff, mostly used rare stuff. I run a distro called Wax Deli Distro. Talk to me. I have more to add. It's just
email address?
Yeah, my email address is waxdeli@gmail.com. You're looking for something specific, ask me. My store is www.waxdeli.com. It's very easy. That's it. That's all I got for you. What else?
Well, aren't you in a music band?
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. It's a band. I'm in a band. I'm not. It's gonna go unnamed. It's an area band in Albany, which means no one knows about it. And that's really all there is to it. Maybe in one of these future podcasts, Brandon can join in and we can discuss the pains
Of being an Albany local
being an
band.
Albany local band.
Absolutely.
Playing at Polly's.
Yeah,
Polly's.
oversized bathroom polys. That's right. I said it. All right.
All right.
Everyone I know.
And be nice to each other, folks.
Be nice. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice. Hey.